Yeah, so this is a block of Regina cherries, and they're all on cult rootstock. This was a new site. It was paddock before. We've got sets of pollinators. So here in this row, we've got 3 pollinators close together, and then a set of Regina, and we're sort of alternated. So we've got sets of pollinators in each row. We weren't getting a really good crop in here, and so after our experience with the Samba and going from 2 tonne a hectare to 12, we thought we'd take the risk and put this type of some covers on here before flowering, and we got a really nice crop last year, and they were really good quality fruit. So this was what we sort of worked on last year. We did quite a few blocks with this. And we found that it was much lower humidity than a solid block of Vone. So it's just an idea that we can think outside the square a bit. We solved the humidity problem. But I'm still concerned about light, in the long run. And so that's why I'm saying, ideally, if we could come up with something affordable for the average cherry grower, retractable would be the bee's knees. What was I going to say? I've forgotten now. Oh yeah, the wind. Yeah, so what our thinking was to keep it up really flat, so that it didn't catch the sideways wind anywhere near as much as structures that have very much a gable, isn't it? Gable. And we didn't want to. We really didn't want all the work and the fact and having all these lower cables in place, because it's a nightmare when you're trying to, pruning and whatnot. So we just wanted a really simple system that's cheaper, that's better ventilated, and look, it definitely stood up to the wind. But the thing we didn't realise, and we probably should have done, but we're not aeronautical engineers, is where the pressure is on this. It's up. So like an aeroplane wing, the air going across the top is faster than underneath, creates a vacuum, and that's what keeps us up in the air in an aeroplane. And so what we found here was that the pressure, the lift is up. So we were walking in here and thinking, the net looks a bit higher, that sort of thing. And the treated hardwood posts that had been in the ground for 2 years, a metre in the ground, were lifted straight out and plonked back on top of the ground again. So we've got to have, anchor them down. So we could fix it. Like, the encouraging thing was the plastic didn't rip, the anchors didn't come out, but we just ended up with a higher structure for a period of time until we got it all pulled down again.
Andrew, this obviously is an older block, so you had to retrofit to what you already had in the block already. Did you find any challenges with the structure of the tree, or if you had any issues with how high?
Yeah. So what we've been doing for a number of years, and Matthew, my son's been looking after it, is when we've been planting. So we're all GPS planting. So we've stuck with 4.5 metre rows, and then when we lay out the block for netting, because we need netting because it's not just birds at harvest, it's also birds in the winter, like they eat the buds, and it gives us the opportunity to have the wind protection. And then with the potential to hang something a bit lighter underneath. So when we're setting out for the block, we've been setting it out with a surveyor that comes in, and he's just got a handheld thing, and we just lay it all out, and all the posts are all in 15 metre grids. just trying to get it laid out properly. And then when we're doing the netting, instead of just putting the anchors for every fifth row, what you would for netting, we've been putting the extra cables, the extra posts at the end, extra anchors, in anticipation for hanging something underneath. This is just a prototype, it's a start, but whatever we have, we're going to need the cable over every row. So if we put it all in, when we do the net, it's not a lot of extra work. It's easier to do then, and it's all set up ready. So.
Yeah, and often it is a bit of trial and error, isn't it? So you've had a couple of different types that you've tried to deploy here. What's your perfect system, do you think, after all the ones you've tried?
Like I said originally, I think the perfect system would be a retractable system. So we can protect from frost, we can protect from rain, we can potentially put it out if it's too hot or something like that, but we can let the sunshine in and we can keep the humidity low. And I don't know what it is. I think you can't beat sunshine. Sunshine's the only thing we get for free. I think we've got to not forget about it because it's essential for growing good quality fruit. When you get fruit from outside blocks, it seems like they've got a thicker skin or something. I don't know what it is. They're just more robust. They're firmer. They're sweeter. And when we were talking about yesterday about getting the soluble solids, getting the bricks up early. I mean, how do you do that? I think sunshine's got the biggest part to do with that. So. And look, I took a photo of it yesterday, the slide there that showed the comparison between outside and undercovers. Undercovers was softer, lower bricks, larger. But larger is not a plus if it's soft. So, and that's exactly what we're seeing here in this climate. That's what we're seeing.
The production. How's the yield, the production here? The production from the...
Oh, yeah. So last year about 12 tonne.
12 tonne. Okay, nice.
Yeah. So not really intensive, but that's okay. 12 tonne of nice fruit is okay, for us.
So you said, was very, very good. When we analyze this system, you usually analyze the height, or you have the tents related with the trees, and this is very good in terms of there is a possibility to move through the tree. That is very good, and this net usually is very good to remove, but also has a lot of. I would like to see the information coming from the industry, from the company, because probably it's very strong intersection. It probably is the most of you can get, but that allows to take out and the humidity, but probably the light coming to here is low, especially for infrared. Okay, because infrared is the most important part to make the skin strong. Okay? So that is the reason you said very well. It should be nice to have retractive and trying to not to put the net or the plastic, trying to delay the plastic on the tree. That because sometimes if you get the rain at the fruit set, it's not an issue. When you get the rain after the peak hardiness, that becoming the most sensitive. So my question is why to put not the net, the plastic. Say, why you put the plastic so earlier?
Here.
Here, yeah.
Oh, so because it seems in our climate, we often get rain over flowering. And what we call shy-bearing varieties is Samba, definitely, Regina and Cordia. Mm-hmm. We've seen that it significantly improves fruit set by seemingly keeping the pollen dry over flowering. Because I think what's been happening is that, you know, we have the bees in here, and, you know, we get a bit of rain, and then the bees are cooped up and they can't get out, and then they get out and they're going everywhere, and the cherry growers walk around, they're very happy because the bees are really active. But in reality, if we could see what was going on, there might not be any pollen left for them to be spreading around. It might all be on the ground. I don't know, you know, or it's all ruptured with the rain or something. Because I talked Dougaled from TR, and they've looked you looked at pollen under a microscope, and rain definitely ruptures the pollen. Is that right?
Yep.
Yeah.
We did a little bit of work down here, and after a rain event, a few years ago now, but we did a bit of work collecting pollen and looking at pollen health. And after a rainfall event, it seemed that the pollen certainly didn't look healthy visibly under the microscope. It was misshapen and quite deflated. And then some of it was also, we put it down to it had exploded. It's, you know, obviously dry pollen's very starchy, and it's like a cherry in a way, and it absorbs the humidity, and then it fractures, basically. You get particulates, and we were seeing that as well. So basically, at the end of the day, you're losing pollen health and viability from the humidity is part of the issue. Yeah, what we think.
Yeah, so like I really don't want to plant any more non-self-fertile varieties, but we've ended up with quite a bit of Regina because, you know, it stands up to the rain better, and we couldn't figure out what to do with covers. And we've got some Cordia, and we've got a block of Samba. So it's made, you know, it's made a big difference to our yield on those varieties, and made them profitable where otherwise they might have had to come out. And also, we do find that with Regina, if we get it hard enough for what the market really wants, they still crack. You know, they crack less, but they still crack.
I just wanted to say that, just backing up what Andrew's saying, under the Cravo, right, we can set consistently 15 tonne, 19 tonne to the hectare of Regina and Cordia, because we're protecting the flowers, right? But an outside one are getting 7, you know, 8, 5, this sort of thing. And it is critical of those varieties, like Brad calls them patio varieties, because that's what they are. A lot of that European stuff is. If it hasn't got covers, it's really hard work. But in saying that, I'm still struggling, even with a retractable roof. You know, we shade it on hot days. Is that the right thing to do? Should we be stressing them a bit to improve fruit firmness? You know, under covers, I don't know.
You know, talking about how the system work is related with, we need to have the transpiration, okay, from the leaves. When you cover, okay, you increase, depend on the plastic, but you increase the temperature. That is good because you are going to have the transpiration, but you increase the humidity. So it's the water pressure deficit that is the important things. Okay? So when you increase the temperature, it's okay for the transpiration, but when you increase the humidity, the transpiration is reduced. Okay? So the uptake of the water is reduced. Okay? That is the reason you need to reduce the irrigation. Okay? And when they have that characteristic, the balance on growing is changed. So the trees start to get vegetated, a lot of growing, a lot of leaves. Okay? That is the concept behind. Okay? So when if you have the opportunity to open, should be very nice, because if it's rain, you open and you protect, okay? So, and after the rain, with all that humidity, okay, still make some mess, especially on the top. So the ideal is open and get the humidity out. That is the ideal system, you know. So, but that is the theoretical. What we can see here, look at what is the growing at the last season growing. Can you go through the tree and tell me where was the last season growing?
In the trees.
On the tree, yeah. Come on, hey! Look at. Well, okay, here. Nothing.
Don't be shy.
Yeah, nothing.
On the tops only.
Yes, or some on the tops. But look at, this is the one. This is the one. Okay, over there. So, well, maybe we can think it, yeah, was pruning. No, I think it was not much. So, what we can say about the tree? The tree is talking to us. Look at. Tell us what happened here. So, so the aspect we are talking about, the growing, a lot of vegetation, is not happened here. Following? Follow me? What? So, Regina is a special variety because you can get production on 1 year old. But shoot. So most of the production is in here, okay? But to me, it should be nice to get the information from the leaves to understand is there's a balance in terms of nitrogen, all of that potassium, all of that level, because I don't see much vigor on the tree. Okay, that is good in terms of the what we want. We don't want to be very active, but I think when I see like this, to me is I don't see the issue of cracking related with a lot of humidity or vegetation, because I don't see much. But of course I need to. Supposed to be the real thing will be during the growing season, but I don't see the typical orchard where a lot of vigor and a lot of okay.
So I should say, when these were young trees, you know, they had a reasonable amount of new wood coming, and we went round, but we still couldn't get them to set. We couldn't get them to set. So we went round and put coal tar at 1.4 mils per tree, and some of these pollinators probably, in hindsight, was probably a bit high for them, but we had to do them as well to keep them in line with the flowering time. So they've had 1.4 mil of coal tar, that's all, and some of them it's pulled up too much, but the majority of the block, you know, it has got, you know, some nice young wood as well. Overall, you know, probably a reasonable result with it, but I'm glad we didn't put any more. And then I did take the tops out of some of these because we basically didn't prune them. When we couldn't get them to set, we didn't prune them. But this last year we got a crop, so now I cut the tops out, otherwise we're going to lose too much light down the bottom. And because we cut the tops out, we ran along with the root pruner this last March on both sides, just to try and make sure we didn't get any strong reaction. But,
Mm-hmm.
And look, if we get another crop this year, I'll be more confident to be able to do some more detailed pruning and try and stimulate, or we could still run through and pick out these weaker trees and just cut, do some more detailed pruning on them.
Yeah, it has to be very critical balance, the pruning on this tree, because it's required because you can start in a circle, because if you don't get a good flower, the fruit set is reduced. Okay, so you require a good bud, a good quality flower, and for that to start making the production. But it should be nice to see how the leaves are here. Probably, the flower has not enough energy to really set.
I think what we had was originally we had these adolescent trees that just didn't want to cooperate, didn't want to do the right thing, and I think the small amount of coal tar, it just turns an adolescent tree into a mature age tree that settles down, and so that was part of trying to get a crop in here, and I think keeping the pollen dry was the other big part of it.
We might do some questions.
Yeah, you were talking about, Andrew, how concerned you were about light penetration. Have you thought about testing different plastics? Because now the industry is full of options and different materials, different light,
Yes, we have. I think Dougal said he's put down light meter today, but it's not much. Probably not much help in the fog. I think we did send. I think Matthew sent some plastic up for you to check, wasn't it, as well? No, okay. Just going through or something. So what? So now cherry growing is not cherry growing, is it? Now we're on this journey of learning about plastic. So plastic is not plastic. There's polypropylene, there's polyethylene, there's different layers of UV protection, there's different strengths. So my son Matthew's been over to China this year, and we've got a friend over there that's helping us to get our own plastic made. This was Proline supplied, because we thought, well, that's readily available. We don't know anything enough about plastic yet. So we've ended up, I think this is polypropylene, and we've ended up with polyethylene with some layers of UV protection. And look, we'll certainly be, it can be changed. I mean, it's not necessarily, we're not sure that we've got it right yet.
But then you need to account for the years of life of the plastic also, because it gets dirty and that the light can
But I think the thing we've decided is we're better off to get a plastic that's going to last longer, even if it lets a bit less light through, if it's going to be retractable. Because we've just taken down the bone covers, the original bone covers, earlier this year, that were up for 7 years. They lasted 7 years, they were pretty well had it. But, unfortunately there's no recycling in Tasmania for soft plastic. I'm not sure whether there's any recycling going on for anything really, but but so it's a big problem. We're going to end up with a lot of plastic. So we've opted for a plastic that's going to last longer, and if it's retractable, it doesn't matter so much if it lets a bit less light through.
Yeah, this one is supposed to be very good for that, for long life plastic. Yeah, but the restriction is higher, I think.
Well, unfortunately, it may have been just a bad batch, but unfortunately, this is the Proline. It's only been up for one season. We've had it hibernated over since harvest, but already the UV coating is flaking on the top, so we're not very happy with it actually. Hopefully, it was just a bad batch or something, but we've got to do better than that.
question for Juan Pablo. One, yesterday in your presentation, you showed the relationship of fruit firmness with calcium and the ratios of magnesium, calcium, potassium, calcium. Was that right? And there was a range of calcium and ratios, whether you were undercover or outcover. There was still a range.
Yeah.
Now that range, did that come from different orchards or within the same orchard, and was it manipulated with nutrition? Because I'd be quite interested to know how you got that range, how managed that was.
Yeah, let me explain. Calcium, is not easy to really get numbers, because it depends on what calcium you're analyzing, okay? It's not very well, and it's not easy to separate the type of calcium. But in the talking about total amount of calcium, okay, so when we did the experiment, at the beginning we saw that difference in terms of softening, okay? So we did another evaluation in another orchard, a commercial orchard, with the cover, and we separate fruit from the top, from the bottom. And when we analyze the fruit, so most of the fruit compared to the outside to the inside, the inside fruit has less calcium compared to the outside. Okay, and so something happened with the uptake of the calcium. So what is the level? You say, okay, I take the fruit, analyze, and say, okay, this is good or wrong. It's not easy. So I did another experiment, and what I showed yesterday, very nice curve, okay? And that what I got from that curve is I using different system to remove calcium from the fruit, okay? And I put in those, I use that concept, and also I add calcium to the fruit in a lab, okay? And I put that fruit in a solution for a long period of time to see the cracking capacity. So when I remove the calcium from the fruit, increase so much the cracking, okay? So the key thing is we really need to push calcium as much as we can in the fruit. How is the level? You need to push higher than 10 milligrams per 100 gram of fruit. That is the level to me. Usually when I go, I have done several experiments, and usually when we are lower than 6, or even when you apply foliar calcium, help, and you move it to 6, and you move it to 10, the thing change. Okay, so that is the reality in terms of numbers. Okay, but when you are in 10 or 12, doesn't matter what you do, all will be the same. But when you really are in the low condition, it's really happening. The other things, we try to put the information what we got from Apple in terms of calcium, all of that, concept of how is the competition of calcium on the tree. But I apply calcium, okay, there to the fruit, foliar calcium, at the range as I told you, at the first stage, increase the calcium, increase the firmness. That paper will be presented in New Zealand next November, where it will be. So it's amazing. So I recommend here to apply calcium at the first stage, 2 applications. Pretty sure it's going to help.
Okay, so you're talking about foliar application.
Foliar application, yeah.
Just going back to the start, where you were talking about looking at different parts of the canopy and the range of firmness. So, if I'm correct, that could be just related to light exposure and, to use Andrew's term, ventilation. That sounds like essentially transpiration leading to different levels of uptake in different parts of the tree. So it's very dependent on air movement and also your canopy, how open your canopy is.
Yeah, because the calcium moving for the xylem, Okay.
Yeah.
So it's the transpiration is the driving force of the calcium. Okay. So when we increase the humidity, of course the transpiration is reduced. Okay. So that's important to have movement or to remove that humidity. But I see here, you have a lot of space here, so probably the humidity is not so high. I think this system should work okay.
And with the calcium, when you said you exposed fruit to calcium in a solution, and looked at cracking, it does sound very similar to the findings of Moritz Nocci, where he looked at that. He's talking about his zipper hypothesis, and the calcium prevents the cracks from expanding. Is that the type of phenomenon you're talking about?
Yeah, okay. Yes.
So for that reason, you would suggest calcium applications at stage 3 of fruit as a preventative for cracking. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, exactly. So when we combine all the concepts, we say, okay, stage 1 is for firmness. Uptake
and firmness. Yeah.
Exactly. When we move into the maturity at the later stage, stage 3, you need to have calcium, because at that level the calcium content is reduced a lot because of the growing. So we need to put the calcium also in that stage for the cracking. For example, in Chile, when we evaluate all the system for cracking, the only product work very well for calcium. Even right now, there are some formulations coming commercially, they add calcium and they sell at another name. So calcium helps to reduce cracking. That's the reason if you say, okay, tomorrow is going to rain, and go through here and go with the calcium. That helps.
Yeah, so it's a different mechanism though. It's working by being on the surface of the fruit.
Yes.
We're not saying uptake in stage 3. It's not physiologically possible.
Yes, it's exactly. The uptake. Yeah, you can see the paper we published when we apply label at the calcium. The uptake at that period of the stage 3 is very poor.
Yeah.
Okay, so remain on the surface. That is enough to reduce. We don't understand very well how it's work, but work. You know?
Yeah.
You were talking about pressure deficit. As soon as you cover an outdoor block, obviously raise the humidity and your VPDs are going to be altered. Have you done any real or live tracking of VPD and use that as trigger for irrigations? And I guess, would that help significantly in reducing cracking in that scenario, like the covered scenario?
Yes, we really concentrate on irrigation and we evaluate the soil water matrix, the water on the soil. We evaluate the stem water potential in the tree. So you follow very well how happen with the tree when you reduce the amount of water you put. And we reduce or increase the efficiency of the use of water under the cover, okay? Because what you say, the humidity stop the transpiration, so you don't need to apply more water. But we didn't get any result or didn't work for the cracking. We didn't study that related with cracking. Okay, we need to do that study. But it's complicated because that is related much of the humidity you have. Okay, but so how you modify that humidity related with the irrigation. Yeah? Okay, so no, we haven't moved into that area. Okay, but this is I think it's important, interesting how to do that. We were working and to tell the grower how to change the way to manage the irrigation under the cover. That was our objective, and we reduced the application by 25% of water. It's a huge reduction. In that. I'm going to send you that paper. You need to read that because that gives you numbers. Give you the numbers. Okay, I'm going to send to you so you give it. Yeah. Because that gives you a real number for what is the level you get the restriction for. Because in that experiment, we do outside and inside. And when we did that outside, when reduction was 25%, we got bad result over there, of course. Was not enough. The fruit was small size, the vegetation was low. So, but inside was okay. So was very well demonstrated the different situation inside compared to outside.